our extracurricular activities offered at Acton. So, not in the way that you are probably asking. Let me expound a little bit. So, in our learning design, we have many learning opportunities that expose your child to different types of activities. That was a weird way to say that. We have a high exposure. That is one of our goals, is we want them to be able to try and explore many different options, and so they get a sense from a very young age of the things that they are drawn to, the things that they love and enjoy. So an example is in our quest structure, we do science in our quests, but we do other things as well. So our youngest learners, they do once a year, they do an Olympics quest where they get to try lots of different sports through the lens of studying an Olympic hero and looking at their life and what they've overcome, and their great accomplishments, as well as the other parts of life that aren't so perfect for for any person. So that's one way for sports, for example, that a child is exposed to many different kinds of sport activities, and it might inform them and their parents of other activities they might want to try. Same thing with robotics. Trying to think what other quests. Art, photography. So think of like exposure. That is something that we do, but it's not done in an after school activity. We may sometimes offer after school activities that could look more extracurricular, but as part of our program, our regular program, we don't do it in that way. And I want to expound a little bit on this based on, well, some of my own experience. When I was a homeschooling mom, I learned from another much more expert homeschooling mom that she did not pay for her children to take piano until they showed interest in the piano, and enough interest that they would push through and learn some of it on their own. And so that really got me thinking, as music and piano and extracurricular was important to me, of why do we do extracurricular things, and how do I know which ones are right for my child? Because we can't do all of them, nor do I want to do all of them. So to be very careful, how can we figure that out? Well, I have a child who is a musician, and he is the one that this resonated with. We stopped doing piano lessons, but he continued to progress. And honestly, I never paid for another lesson ever for him, because he took it to the next level. Then once he came to Acton, he started reaching out to people to interview and to take him on in an apprenticeship to help increase his level of skill and knowledge from experts that he admired. So that's one example of why I actually think it's a benefit that we don't offer extracurricular activities in the traditional sense, is because we offer high exposure, and when there's interest from a child, either parents notice it or we do, then we want to fuel that flame. That, of course, is always what we want to do. But we want to keep the child in the driver's seat. And I'm sure that this resonates with those of you that have signed your child up for soccer, and they get out on the field and they're just talking to their friend the whole time, and the ball goes by and they don't even care because they don't care about soccer. So helping to avoid that and really watch for what kinds of activities really speak to the deeper gifts and talents of my child, and for them to come to recognize that and then take action on that. It's a much deeper experience when the child is driving the seriousness of their hobbies. And that's kind of what we foster at Acton. My son is a baseball player. Baseball's not really our sport. It is now, but originally it wasn't at all. My husband and I both prefer basketball. My husband loves basketball and soccer, but this kid became a baseball player. He loves baseball, and while he is now in middle school and could have potentially played on a middle school team, our opportunity to choose a team and a coach that fit our child is life-changing. We realized that what our child needed wasn't only an excellent baseball coach, he needed a coach that could inspire him to be a wonderful man. And that is the coach that we have, and that's the team that he's on. So if he had just gone to a traditional school, he would have been on all the sports teams, I'm sure, because he's a naturally gifted athlete. But he would have been in the locker rooms. He would have been with whatever coach is assigned to teach history and coach PE. And I think that it would have, well, in my heart for my child, would have done him a disservice. Would he have reached his athletic potential? I don't think so. Would he have reached his potential as a learner and as a friend? I don't think so. So depending on what extracurricular you want and why that feels like it has value for your family, I guess that's my challenge, is what do you want? Why do you want it? Why does it feel like that has value for you and for your family? Two other little thoughts. One is we are experimenting right now with offering piano lessons during the day at Acton. I'm really excited about that, and a lot of our families are. So there may be opportunities at certain campuses where that is an option. I'm not going to commit to anything because we're just testing it at our first campus right now. Maybe it'll be there, maybe it won't. We see value in those kinds of activities, and the ones we can offer during the day, I love that because I didn't love running my kids around after school to all these different activities. There were some that had enough value that we did it. I think piano might be one for a lot of our families. That's why we're experimenting with it. So that was that one thing. The other thing is, I'm just going to say this. Your experience in high school is not the same experience that your child will have. I had a wonderful high school experience, and I did a lot of extracurricular activities. And I think as parents, that is what we remember. That's what was powerful for us. And so we have an idea that that's what our children need to have a thriving experience too. And if we choose a school where that's not offered, then they're missing out on something. Now, they might be missing out on some things, but the experiences I had and the skills I gained from my extracurricular opportunities, they were directly connected to the leader, again, the person, the coach that was there and that inspired me. It was probably much less about the activity and more about the people that were there, that there was an inspiring, uplifting challenge for me to face. So that's just a huge part of the experience. And the other part is we got to go on trips and do some cool things and have experiences like that. My sense is the experiences that are happening in middle schools and high schools do not echo ours. They do not mimic theirs. And that the value your child will get from being in a traditional setting, participating in those activities, is simply not worth what you're giving up. And I don't just mean academically. I mean the price parents pay to have their child involved on the high school football team, cheerleading team, debate team. It would take a lot of convincing for me to see that what we give up, the price we pay, the setting we put our children in, the even the academic, what is the right word? System will rob our children of so much more than they will gain from being a part of those activities. I might get a lot of flack for saying that. I just don't think they hold value that they used to and that we think they do. So again, my challenge is, what matters to you? If extracurriculars seem really important to you, figure out why. What is it about that experience that resonates with you that you want your child to have? And that might be worth it. But almost always when I have this conversation with parents, I can help. We together are able to come up with lots of, your child could still gain those skills and experiences without taking on all of what comes with extracurricular activities being offered in the school. it's the music programs as well. I love music, I love fine arts, but I think if that's why my children are going to school, if that's why I'm choosing a school, the amount of hours they're not participating in that versus what they are, it may just not balance out. So figure out what it matters to you, what your values are, and I bet you'll be able to provide it in a better, in a higher quality, better way by being a little creative and in a way that matches your values better. Now, maybe not always, especially football. It's really hard to provide a football opportunity for your child. But how many of those football players go on to play football? So weigh it out. What's important? Why are we really doing this? I just challenge you to look deeply into that. And if you want to get really deep, I would love to chat with you about this because I feel so passionately. There's so much to be gained in those 7 hours that our children are at school, that with a little bit of creativity and resourcefulness, we can provide a 10x experience in school and in extracurricular activities without taking on all of the other things that come in a traditional setting. That felt really bold. Okay, so if you're looking into Acton, I haven't scared you away yet. Come visit with us. Come have an introduction tour and or set up a visit day for your child to come experience their time in the classroom. Once it comes summertime, we can't offer that experience anymore. So if that's what you want, please get on our list right away. Those are limited spots, and we would love to meet you and your child soon.